Hey guys, my name is Donnie and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my workshop and welcome back to another episode of building a motorhome from scratch. And as the title suggests, I want to make the front end, or I want to finish off the front end in this video by making the bumper and the bonnet from the molds that I took in the previous video. So let me just get you up to date. In the last video I made these molds from the plug that I made for this motorhome, and I delaminated it from that plug, and this is what it looks like. What I've done off camera now is I've just reinforced these molds like I said I would do, just to make sure that they were nice and sturdy, so that when I start making a product it would not deform or change shape or anything like that. And what I went ahead and did then is I just sanded down the inside of these molds as best I could with some fine water sanding paper, just to make sure that if there was any irregularities or mistakes on the mold, I would now easily be able to sand it down as best I could to make it nice and smooth. And then, as in the previous video, I polished it up again and I put some pink releasing agent on here, water-based releasing agent, because I'm gonna now make a product from this mold, because these molds now are the exact opposite of what I want on the car. So I can now just start layering fiberglass on the inside, and when I'm done and it's thick enough, I can remove it from these molds and I have myself a perfect product that I can use on the motorhome, a perfect bumper and a perfect bonnet. Or that's the idea. Now guys, like in the previous video, what's going to happen now after I've now put the releasing agent is I'm going to paint on some gel coat on the insides of these molds, and then I'm going to start layering fiberglass until it's nice and thick and strong, and then I can remove it from the mold and put it on there. But because I did it in the previous video, and because there are so many other things that's going to have to happen in this video for me to be able to mount this bumper and the bonnet to the motorhome, I'm not even going to film it. I'm just going to go ahead and start layering it on here, and then the next scene you're going to see what the product looks like, and maybe I'll be able to delaminate it and then we can start fitting it to the motorhome. So let's go. Okay guys, time for an update. I've now finished laying all of the layers of fiberglass to a thickness that I'm happy with, and I also went and reinforced this whole bonnet by just sticking some of this this expanded foam on the perimeters and then laying a layer of fiberglass on top of that. And this foam is not where the strength lies, but rather the fact that I boxed it in with a layer of fiberglass, so that will give it a lot of strength. And also on the bumper part, I just stuck or glued that piece of angled iron on both sides, so that I could have a spot where I can mount it on the truck, and also to keep the sides nice and straight so that they won't deform or anything like that. And guys, as I was waiting for the fiberglass to cure, I then went ahead and I put the skeleton back in position, and I started designing or working on something that I can use for a hinge, so that I can have this bonnet hinge up and down. And I did come up with an idea, and in the meantime I also then made these standoffs with a steel plate and a nut and a bolt, and I fiberglassed them into position where I deem necessary, and now I can use these standoffs on both sides for what's going to become my hinge. But I'm going to do that a bit later on, because first of all now I can remove this bumper and that bonnet, that bumper and this bonnet from the molds, so that we can see what it looks like on the inside. So let's see if I can remove it without too much of a problem. Alrighty guys, there we go, one by bumper and one by bonnet. This is very, very exciting. I'm so happy that it came out the way that it did. And now, like I said, I've got the molds. I can do this again if I wanted to. The bumper especially did have a couple of minor issues when it came out, but that is the least of my concerns, because I'm just going to fix that with some filler when I prep it for paint and put some body filler on top of that. Now guys, before this video ends, I really want to install this bumper and the bonnet to the motorhome, and for me to do that, installing the bumper shouldn't be too much of an issue, because I'm just going to mount it to where the skeleton was mounted originally. But the bonnet itself, like I said, needed to hinge, and I did design something that I want to use as a hinge or see if it's going to work. But I did realize that the left hand hinge and the right hand hinge are going to have to be connected with something, so that this bonnet, when it opens, doesn't want to buckle if it opens unevenly. So without me even trying to explain how my hinge is going to work, I'm going to make that quickly, and then we can see if I can get it installed and get this whole bonnet to open and close properly, and then we can install the bumper. Exciting times. Let's see how it goes. Guys, how do you like that? Here we go, a functioning bonnet, and it is working even better than I had hoped for. It moves nicely out of the way. You can easily access everything underneath, and when it closes up and I put a latch in here, it's going to lock into position perfectly, and everything is going to work the way that it should. I made this hinge so that it is adjustable, so you can fine-tune it if necessary. And also this bumper, I had to install the bumper and the lights and everything to make sure that I lined up this bonnet, but it is only installed temporarily. I used a piece of wooden dowel there at the back just to fit this bumper to the body, but I'm going to replace that, and I'm going to isolate this bumper from the body with some rubber. So I'm going to mount it with rubber instead of hard mounting it to this body, because I anticipate that it's going to resonate sound from the front into the cab if I don't isolate it with some rubber. But apart from that, guys, this is a huge accomplishment for me. I've got to tell you, this whole thing is one big prototyping, and every time I have a little bit of a success and things work out the way that I planned, it is very, very cool. And this whole hinge and bonnet thing came out exactly how I hoped it would, and I also think that it's starting to look like business with the indicators and everything temporarily put into position. So guys, that is that for this video. I'm very happy. Like I said, now the next thing I can do is start working on the grill and then just finishing off the sides and so on. But I am close to having finished building a truck that's going to become a motorhome eventually, but this is really starting to look very nice. But guys, that is just about it for this video. Like I said, I am very chuffed with how this hinge came out looking like, And this bonnet, even though it's massive, and the bumper, even though they're massive, is still very much lightweight because of the fact that I made a mold and I made a product from that, so it is as light as it possibly has to be, which is very important in this case. There's enough room in there so I can put a winch in there and make a proper bumper on the inside for impacts and so on. But as far as looks is concerned, I very much like what it is starting to look like. Anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I will see you next time. Cheers!